Welcome to our worldwide webinar about using your OPT as a foreign nursing student in the U.S. My name is Amy Carr. I'm the Vice President of Recruitment here at Worldwide, and I am joined by Jessiana, who is our campus recruiter. Before I turn this over to Jessiana for her presentation, I wanted to just talk a little bit about why it's a great time to be a foreign nurse and need sponsorship in the U.S. So pre-COVID, there were still many healthcare organizations in the U.S. that were willing to sponsor nursing students for green cards. However, in a post-COVID world, many more healthcare organizations are open to hiring new graduates, both domestic and foreign, than they were in the past. And so as someone who might need sponsorship, instead of only having a few choices and probably really having to work in long-term care in order to get sponsorship for a green card, there are now many acute hospitals across the U.S. and states all across the country that are really interested in hiring new grads. So it's a fantastic time to be a foreign student because there's lots of choices. And there's so many healthcare organizations that would really like to partner with you and hire you and have you be sponsored for a green card. So let me turn it over to Jessiana.
Thank you, Amy. Hello, everyone. So I would love to, first off, just to kind of ask what university you are watching this webinar from, and what, if you could write down on the chat box what university you were looking at this from, and also just what year of school you're currently at right now. We would love to know that. Kind of like Amy said, a lot of people are wanting to hire international new grads. So it's kind of a very exciting time for you as an international nursing student. And today we're just going to talk a little bit about how you can really utilize your OPT. So kind of what is an OPT for some of you who might not know? It's an optional practical training that the U.S. Kind of allows international students to utilize after graduation. So it's a chance for new grads to practice in their field that they graduated in. Now, and as an OPT, the length of an OPT kind of changes according to what degree you are obtaining. So if you're in the STEM field, it would be 3 years, but for nurses currently, for nursing students, it is 1 year. So an OPT will allow you as an international student to work in the US for 1 year. So the cool thing about it is you are eligible with an OPT for a year in each degree level. So for example, you obtain a bachelor's degree, you can work with an OPT, and then afterwards, if you decide you want to get a master's degree right after you complete your bachelor's OPT, you also have another chance to complete an OPT with your master's degree. So it kind of goes from there. However, one thing I do want to mention is, let's say you complete a bachelor's degree in psychology, and then you decide that you want to get another bachelor's degree in nursing, and you already completed your OPT with your bachelor's in psychology, then that wouldn't you then wouldn't be given a second OPT within that degree level. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. Here at Worldwide, we would still be able to assist you, but you just would have to go through a different route. Another thing is employment during OPT must be directly related to your degree of study. So let's say you have a degree in nursing, you definitely wouldn't be eligible for a job that wouldn't be related to nursing with your OPT. So another, just a few other things to keep in mind as an international student. is that you must begin working within 90 days of graduation to be in good standing with UCIS. It's just an important thing to just keep in mind. And it's also really best practice as a nursing student to start applying or working with a recruiter 3 months before graduation. The reason why that is because as an international student with your OPT, we kind of have a time crunch. It's something that I'll be explaining in more depth later on. You have kind of a time crunch in regards to then applying for your EB3 green card. And so that's why it's important that you kind of you work with a recruiter as early as possible before you graduate. And if you're seeking employment 65 days after graduation, again, because we are on that time crunch, it would be a bit difficult in transitioning that EB3 visa, which might allow you, after your OPT, it might allow you to kind of take a pause while that is in process from working. And we definitely don't want to do that. We definitely want to give you enough time to be able to get all the information and all of the documentations that you need during your year of OPT. So kind of as I mentioned a little bit, what are kind of the steps that we want to take, and how can kind of Worldwide help with that? So the first thing that you will want to do is, once you've been interested, you're going to want, like I said in the past, you're going to want to apply about 3 or 4 months before graduation. I know some of you right now actually might be graduating in December. So it is a little less than 3 months, which is totally okay. We could still work with you, but it's important to kind of have that time. And once kind of your interest has been expressed, we have amazing full-time recruiters who will work with you. And kind of how the process of that will work is they will kind of talk to you, look through your resume, ask you various questions on your skills and professional goals. Because Worldwide HealthStaff, we are a direct hire recruiting company, you get to pick where you want to go. And so you get to work with a recruiter to just kind of see what options you have available at the time of your interest. And they will be able to schedule various interviews with, various facilities that you can interview with. So that's kind of the cool thing with that. And you can interview with, various facilities of your interest that they might, bring up in various cities in the States. So let's say, you are studying in Maryland right now at a college in Maryland, but you kind of want to go somewhere else in the U.S. So you want to go to North Carolina. A recruiter would be able to kind of look at those availabilities and be able to help you and set up a few interviews with facilities that we have available there. So that's just kind of the cool thing with that. And the thing is as well, when you're 3 months before your graduation, as you're interviewing with these various facilities, the interview goes well and somebody gives you an offer letter, you can definitely accept that offer letter before receiving your OPT. And we definitely want to do that. Like I said, with that time crunch, we want to kind of get things going as soon as possible. So kind of after that, you would be applying for your OPT work authorization. This is something that is done from the school that you are currently in. So for example, you might have a student advisor that you work with as an international student, or you might have an international office that can help you with just all of the information in how you can apply for an OPT. And again, with that, that's something that they'll tell you is once you apply for your OPT, your either international office or your advisor will be kind of doing a check of your job description, just to make sure that it is within the field of study, and then you're kind of given the okay to work. So it's kind of the cool thing with that. So once you apply for your OPT, you then graduate, and you should receive an OPT shortly after that. And as a nursing student, you definitely want to complete your NCLEX. So you definitely want to set a date to complete your NCLEX as soon as possible, so that you can start working in a facility that you've accepted a job offer from. So those are kind of the steps that you definitely wanted to take before graduation. Now, after graduation, the cool thing with that is, once you graduate, you'll receive your OPT where you can work here, and with that, once you receive your OPT, we want to start your immigration process to then, switch everything over for you to get a green card. So you're going to want to start your visa screen and then kind of have the immigration process started. And a lot of people might think, how do I do this, or how is this going to work? So the cool thing about it is you will be assigned to a case manager who will kind of help you throughout the whole process. Once you receive your OPT, and once you kind of are ready to kind of start that transition, you'll definitely have a case manager who will walk you through all the whole process, the application, all the things that you'll need for that. And then another thing is you'll need to obtain a proper state licensure. And again, we have an amazing licensure team. They are experts at this. They do this every single day, that will kind of help you kind of switch that, or get you the proper licensure information that you'll need. And let's say you take your NCLEX in Maryland and you want to switch it somewhere else, they're definitely will they're there, they're great, and they're professionals to be able to help you through that. And then kind of next up with that is, then if you are planning on relocating, so like I said in the beginning with that example, you're in Maryland and you want to go to North Carolina, we have an amazing relocation team who can help you with that. They are skilled, and we are partnered with various companies to help you kind of make that transition go well. For example, we'll help you find a place to live, an apartment or a place where you can live. If you have any other questions with things like, maybe even cell phone service, or in regards to, transportation, they are very skilled at helping you find the right tools that you'll need to kind of get situated in that area. So super awesome. And then, so like I said, you have an amazing team here at Worldwide HealthStaff who will help you through the start of it, through all of it, the whole process. From your recruiter, who will kind of help you interview and get into the facility that you want to work for, to then, after you accept your job offer, to having a case manager who will help you in the rest of that process. So those are kind of a few of the main things I want to discuss. And then after that, you start work. So once you start work and you're working with your OPT, again, you're keeping in contact with your case manager to submit all the documents for your immigration petition to be filed, and kind of get all of that going. And then, once everything's been filed, you will then get a green card. So that's just some kind of all the steps that you would need to take for that. So next here, we're just gonna have a Q&A. Amy is going to ask me some questions that, you guys might have. We'd love for you at the chat box, to ask any questions that you guys may have, and we'll do our best to try to answer them, as soon as possible and answer them in this event. And if not, I have my contact information here as well. I'll leave this here towards our whole Q&A, so you can kind of have that on file and ask me any questions that you may have, or if you're interested in starting the application process now, you can email me or give me a phone call, and I'd love to kind of speak with you and then direct you to a full-time recruiter.
Yeah, and we also have recruiters available for live chat right now. So if you are interested in chatting with someone online, the link is in the chat box. So you're welcome to chat with somebody live, or please feel free to drop your questions in the chat box or the Q&A area. But I do have some questions for Jessiana that oftentimes students want to know. So Jessiana, did any of Worldwide's employers, did they offer bonuses to new grads?
Yes, they actually do. We have quite a few various clients that we work with that offer bonuses, and some of the bonus go from $5,000 to even $10,000 if you sign. First sign-on bonuses, kind of vary in that, which is super awesome as an international student, because you're graduating school, and usually you don't have a lot of money to start with. So those sign-on bonuses are, very important. So yeah, there's a few. There's one that has $5,000 sign-on bonus, and there's another one that actually has a $10,000 sign-on bonus right now for new grads.
Awesome. What if I'm here in the U.S. and I'm not on an F1 visa, but I have another status? Yeah. Is Worldwide able to help?
It depends. It honestly would depend on your visa status. So what I would do is, if you don't know if you would qualify for it, just send me an email or give me a phone call, or even just go onto our website and you can email or live chat with somebody, and they'd be able to kind of verify and see. Because there's some statuses that we wouldn't be able to change. For example, a business visa, or I guess a
visitor business.
Visa, yeah, visitor visa. We wouldn't be able to transition that if you're here in the U.S., but we would be able to help you out once you leave. So just things like that. There's different statuses that we would need to look into, but yeah.
And I might just add, there's hundreds of different visa types. So there's so many different visa types, and each visa type has its own rules and own regulations, but we are absolutely happy to talk to you about your specific journey and see how we can help. How long does a process take as a student?
So, while USCIS their processing times often changes, but right now it takes about 6 to 12 months to make that transition. That's why it's so important to start the process soon, to start the kind of interviewing process as soon as possible, within 3 or even 4 months before graduation, to kind of get everything situated and ready and have an offer lined up before you receive your OPT, so that once you get your OPT, we can then file everything and get the process going after you've also taken the NCLEX and passed it. So it's super. We're kind of on a time crunch when it comes to international OPT students. That's why it's very important to start as soon as possible. But yeah, 6 to 12 months.
And who hires new grads and OPT students? Like, what sort of folks are interested in hiring new grads?
Right now with the demand, it's a lot of facilities are. I know right now it's a lot of acute care. Definitely hire, and there's a lot of different, a lot of people do hire right now because of the huge need for nurses.
Wow, awesome. Does it matter what country I'm from if I'm a student here in the U.S.?
Yes. Now, fortunately, we would love to help everyone. But if you are from North Korea, China, or India, currently, and this is not because of us, this is because of USCIS right now. They are, so there's some issues with the U.S. has currently banned some nationalities from entering the U.S. And because of that, we're unable, because of either travel or immigration restrictions, and because of that reason, we're not able to assist individuals from those 3 countries. And we're hoping that, maybe that might be lifted soon, or hopefully in the future, because we would love to help people from these 3 countries. But currently, because of that, we can't.
And when should I apply? If I'm a new grad or a student right now, when should I apply at Worldwide?
So as mentioned, we definitely want you to apply at least three months before graduation, 3 to 4 months before graduation. That's very, very important because of the time crunch. And like I said, if you have 2 months before graduation, that's still fine. But we definitely don't want it to get to the point where you're like a week before your graduation and about to receive your OPT, just because that might take some time it might take some time for a recruiter to help you kind of find the facilities that you want to interview for with interview dates, and then also being able to get an offer. It might take some time. And we definitely don't want you to be at a point where you're working with your OPT and then you might need to stop for a little bit because things haven't been fully processed to where you have your green card yet before that 12 months. Or after that 12 months. So.
Yeah, okay, so I'm going to pause here for just a second before we start taking questions from the chat. One thing about Worldwide is we also love to help your friends and colleagues. If you're in nursing school and you've made some awesome friends who also need sponsorship, we would love to help everyone get a job at the same place. So if you have other friends, bring them along with you. Also, if you're at a school and you have some awesome folks that work in your international office or in your career center, we'd love to touch base with them too, because we would love to help every single international nurse get a job. So please also send that information to Jessiana if there's someone else that you know that we can help along with you, or if there's somebody awesome at your career center or your international student office that you think would like to talk to us as well. We'd love to help them. Okay, so a couple of questions that have come in. One, what degrees do you sponsor for permanent residency?
Okay, so it's definitely, we sponsor nursing degrees. That's kind of one of our biggest things, but we also sponsor med lab techs as well as vets too.
Yeah, and maybe physical therapists and occupational therapists and respiratory techs. Yep, and then I think another question, what are the qualifications to sponsor? And maybe I'll take this one. So we are happy to help. And we help new grads here in the U.S. We also help nurses that live around the world. But if you are a nurse, if you're in nursing school here and you will take the NCLEX, whether you have a bachelor's degree or an associate's degree, and you have kept up your good status, then we can help. If you or someone you know is around the world and has taken the NCLEX and has a bachelor's or associate's degree in nursing, then we can also help them. And then if you're, I think Jessiana just mentioned, like a medical technologist or a veterinarian, a physical therapist, we can also help those folks as well. And so, yes, we do hire nurses from outside the U.S. We absolutely do. It's another question that came in the chat. We every day. So if you have friends, if you're in the U.S. and you have friends and family outside of the U.S., we're absolutely happy to help them. I think the biggest thing, if you're outside the U.S., you have to have already taken the NCLEX exam. If you're inside the U.S., generally speaking, as a nursing student, you take the NCLEX after you graduate. So you may not have the NCLEX right now, but you plan to have the NCLEX in the future.
Yes, correct.
I think those are the very last questions.
Okay.
Jessiana, maybe let me turn it over to you for any final thoughts.
Yeah. So, kind of as I mentioned in the beginning, we'd love to hear from you. Like I said, here I have my email and my phone number. And if you are, close to graduation, I would love to chat with you to help you kind of figure out kind of what you're interested in, and then kind of transfer you over to a full-time recruiter that can help you. We would love to, if you know of anybody, go ahead and email me. And I would love to be in contact with that individual who's close to graduation or who's an international nursing student. Even if you're not close to graduation and you want to learn more, I'd love to keep in contact with you. And when you are ready for those next steps, we would love to help you out. And again, if you have the contact of your advisor or of your international office at your college or career services individual, I would love to get their contact and contact them and be able to help as many international nursing students as we can. It's definitely difficult as an international student, and so we definitely want to help you kind of make your dream happen here. So. Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. We appreciate you joining us today. And thank you so much, Jessiana, for all the great information.